Well, this is a Spooky Central Rife machine with the plasma bulb, and I want to tell you that you can just use the contact mode if you want to by itself, and that's it's a pretty powerful contact mode. Like, you'll never get a zapper that can do what this contact mode can do. So you have it plugged in here, the contact mode. Here's an on-off switch right here, and right next to it, right here. Okay, up is off, down is on for the contact mode. Now I have my cables hooked in here, and you can see down here, that's my generator, right? And I got my laptop over here, right there. You don't need to turn all that stuff on. Sometimes you don't want to bother booting up your laptop and all that. Now this is going to do a lot more than a zapper can do, because, well, first off, it is, when it's going to be running just contact mode by itself only, right? Just with Spooky Central, it's only going to run one frequency. It's going to be running 100 hertz, and but it's going to have a pulsed electronic magnetic field. I don't know what the timing on that is actually, but at the end of each cycle, I think it is, there's a pulsed electronic magnetic field that this unit puts out through the contact cable, which goes to here. There's the contact paddle, one there and one there. And these other wires are just to a voltmeter, because I'm not going to put an oscilloscope on here or anything like that. I'm just going to show you that because it's quick and dirty that it works, because you really can't feel nothing. And at the end of, besides the 100 hertz cycle square wave it's running, it does that pulse electronic magnetic field, right, PEMF, and it does a 320 half a millionth of a second voltage spike. That clobbers the hell out of pathogens. It doesn't hurt your human cells in the least, but it clobbers the hell out of pathogens. So, just to get, because I know, like, one of my questions was, and I didn't feel like digging out the oscilloscope and put it on here, I just threw a voltmeter on it. And probably don't even need this light on here. Yeah, you can read that better. So you see it's 0, right? So all you got to do now, I have it hooked up. The prongs are hooked up to where the paddles are. So the voltmeter's hooked up to these contacts that you would be using, which are the stainless steel tubes, right? It's stainless steel under here, and it's covered with a white paper towel that's wet with tap water. So if you just run contact mode, which is pretty easy, because you just, you got to turn the unit on, which is that switch right back here, right? You see the red light comes on, fans cooling it down, all that stuff. Not, so they'll, it's not going to be programmed with the computer and the generator. Just turning this on. That's all you're doing. Now we see when you turn it on, still says 0, right? Yeah, it's just a quick and dirty, but because you don't feel nothing. Some people probably wonder, is it working? So we flip the switch down. Okay. Now it's in a down position. It says, so it's now on. Okay. It's now on. It's not off. And well, for a second there I was going, what the heck? Well, let me say, I didn't have this. I must have popped that off, this wire off, when I was sliding this down to show you that there's the stainless steel under there. So the wire is now connected. You can see the voltage meter's doing something. It's not an indicator showing you, how many hertz is going through it, the pulsed electronic magnetic field. It's just telling you that it's working. So if we go over here and we take this switch and we flip it up and we come back here, it's at 0. Okay? So when you're using this unit, just make sure you don't pull off any wires and stuff while the machine's running. I don't think it's going to really break it. It's probably pretty heavy duty, but not recommend it. But again, you can use this by itself. And it is much stronger than any ordinary zapper because of the pulsed electronic magnetic field that's putting through the paddles themselves, and that's 320 volt, half a millionth of a second spike, which is very deadly to a lot of really tiny microbes. So again, you can see it's at 0. The unit's on, but this is not on yet. The switch is flipped up. So flip it down, Go over here, you can see, and that's kind of a quick and dirty. How you can see, oh yeah, it's working, because you can't feel nothing. You don't feel anything. You don't feel anything going on. So one of the questions, I didn't feel like digging out. I got a cheap analog Hitachi oscilloscope, nothing special. I didn't feel like digging it out, and usually this is the quick way to find out. You put a voltmeter on. If you see something's going through it, at least you know it's on. I did not. I'm sure the specifications are working right in order, because even every single zapper I checked that I bought was perfect, and I'm sure this is too. But that makes it a lot easier. That's my point. So you don't want to turn your computer on, you don't want to turn your generator on, you don't want to boot up the software, you don't want to go doing all that stuff. You can just turn a unit on in the back here and turn that thing on and use the paddles, and even though you're not feeling nothing, it's doing a hell of a lot. It's way better than any zapper by far. But the other side of it is you just can't carry this in your pocket, right? I mean, that's the other side of it. But then again, it's probably doing a hell of a lot more with a lot less time. I assume it is. I wish I knew for sure, okay? But I just want to point out, the only purpose of this is that you don't need to just use the contact mode for Spooky Central. Just turn it on. You have the wire hooked up for the two cables right back here, which go into one. These two wires go into one wire, then it gets plugged back in here. Just turn the unit on. Make sure all the cables are plugged in first before you turn it on. Turn the unit on, flip the switch down to turn on contact mode, and you're going. It's like a really souped up zapper. The big difference between this and a zapper is, well, okay, so a zapper might do more frequencies, but then if you're running this with this plasma, you can hit all kinds of frequencies. You can set it up with the generator and the computer. But if you just don't even want to you just want to use it for 10 minutes or 30 minutes or something real quick, you can do this. Those real very short, half a millionth of a second, 320 volt spikes, in theory, knock out all kinds of bad stuff. Plus, it's got the pulse electronic magnetic PEMF, pulse electronic magnetic field going through it. It should be a lot stronger than the zapper by far, and still easy to use. The only thing is you can't put it in your pocket, but what do you want, right? Maybe 50 years from now, this thing will fit in your pocket, even though it sounds impossible today. So, and that's how I don't know. Maybe John White will look at this video and say you can't use a volt. He probably. I think you can. I think this is not. This is just to show you that it's doing something. The voltmeter, because you can't feel nothing. And actually, like I said, I didn't realize. Wait a minute. I was like, what the hell? The wire wasn't hooked down here because I slid that down. It does work. It does work. It does work. So that's a much more convenient way of using this sometimes when you don't want to bother going through all the other stuff. There you go.